Welcome back to B&G Hockey, where it's always black and gold. Tuukka Rask's trip down to Providence didn't exactly go as planned, but that means the Boston Bruins are now able to sign their all-time winningest goaltender to his new NHL contract. Let's talk about it. It's a one-year deal with a cap hit of $1 million, and since he's signing the deal in the middle of the season, he'll only make $545,000 of that $1 million contract. We're going to start things off here by taking a look at Tuukka Rask's stats, and then we'll compare his season from last year to the season Ullmark and Swayman are having so far this year. Then I'll finish it off with my thoughts on the deal, as well as some expectations for Rask and what this means for the team moving forward. Whether you love him or hate him, I think we all need to be reminded of Tuukka Rask's great career from time to time. So I'm first going to start out by giving you his all-time stats, then we'll get into last season. In 560 NHL games, Tuukka Rask has 306 wins, 163 losses, and 66 overtime losses. His career goals against average is a 2.27, and his career save percentage is a .921. I also want to remind everyone that Tuukka Rask is now 34 years old, and he claims that he played all of last season with the injury he got fixed this offseason. So keeping that in mind, last year in 24 games, Tuukka Rask was 15-5-2, and he had a goals against average of 2.28 and a save percentage of .913. Now those aren't the best numbers compared to his usual numbers, but they're really not that far off. And if he really was playing through an injury in all of those games, those are still very impressive NHL numbers. Now let's see how those compare to Ullmark and Swayman's numbers from this season. Now I quickly want to point out that this has been a strange season for the Bruins. They've kind of been up and down, finding their way, weird pauses, weird schedule, guys in and out of the lineup with COVID and other injuries, and I don't think the Bruins goaltending has been their biggest problem. But for fans who are frustrated with the goaltending, I understand that we probably expected a little bit more from Ullmark, where he's making $5 million and he's been a better goalie in the past. And I think we all have pretty high expectations for Jeremy Swayman to be the goaltender in the future, but I think we're looking at his godlike numbers from last year and getting disappointed by his numbers this year, even though they're still pretty good. That being said, we're going to take a look at Linus Ullmark, who in 16 games is 11-5-0 this season, with a goals against average of 2.57 and a save percentage of .917. Jeremy Swayman has also played in 16 games, and he has a record of 8-6-2, with a goals against average of 2.26 and a save percentage of .918. Now that I've thrown all these stats and records at you, I promise I'm going to get to my points. Looking once again at Tuukka Rask from last season, as I said, he was injured, but his numbers were still pretty good. In fact, comparing it to the goaltending you've gotten from Ullmark and Swayman that I just talked about, his numbers were actually better in certain categories. And the categories that they weren't better in, it's not that far off. So now this is when we tie it all up in one big bow. I think Tuukka Rask will definitely be able to improve on his numbers from last season now that he's not only healthy, but motivated. And I also think that Ullmark and Swayman would probably have a little bit better numbers if the Bruins season wasn't so crazy and if they started playing better sooner like they are currently. So if Tuukka Rask is already going to give you better numbers even when he's banged up than what you've gotten, and your other goaltenders and your team as a whole is going to improve, not only are you going to be a better team, but your goaltenders are just going to keep getting better and better, and now you have competition between all three guys, which at the end of the day is really a good problem to have. For now, the plan is for Tuukka Rask to back up Linus Ullmark against the Montreal Canadiens, but the Bruins do play in back-to-back games, so I would not be surprised if Rask gets the start against the Philadelphia Flyers on the second half of that back-to-back. Now, this does unfortunately mean that Jeremy Swayman will be headed down to the Providence Bruins. I did mention in one of my previous videos that I thought the taxi squad might be an option, but Don Sweeney has since said that's not an option for Swayman, and he'll report to Providence. Now, Swayman did handle it well, it seems. He did say that he knew it was coming and you had to expect it, but he does hope that if Rask or Ullmark falters, he can get the net back. And Sweeney did say that Swayman is still going to be a goaltender for the Bruins for a very long time. So it's good to hear that Swayman's still the plan. It's good to hear that he's still motivated, but you can't help but feel bad for the kid because he definitely realizes he should be in the NHL. We realize he should be in the NHL, yet here he goes down to the AHL. But he will dominate down there, so hopefully that only builds his confidence, and it definitely sounds like he is hungry, and the moment somebody falters or gets injured, he'll be right back up and ready to go. And that's a good thing for the Bruins moving forward. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking. Why don't the Bruins just trade Linus Ullmark and go with Rask and Swayman? Well, first off, Ullmark has a no-trade clause, so that's not happening. Second, Ullmark is just as important to the Bruins as these other two goaltenders, and that's why they signed him. You still have that uncertainty with Rask. In fact, he could retire at the end of this season, if not just go from year to year. So with that uncertainty in net, where you have a young guy in Jeremy Swayman and an older guy in Tuukka Rask, you need the guy to kind of bridge the gap, and that's what Linus Ullmark does. So the Bruins still want to hang on to him. If you are looking for a trade, you're probably not going to see that until at least next season. Maybe if Rask comes back, then they can look for moves on Ullmark, and I do think teams would take him because he's still a very good goaltender. It's been a bit of a rocky start here with the Bruins, but I think playing with Rask, either going 50-50 if not 60-40, could actually help Ullmark get back to his winning ways and back to his previous style. And I think Bruins fans will actually like him a lot more and be okay with him being part of the plan moving forward. There's a lot of different storylines that come along with this contract, and whether you're a Swayman guy like me or an Ullmark fan, it might not be the best for them right now, but I think it could actually end up helping them over time and in the long run. And if you're a Tuukka Rask fan, you should absolutely be psyched that this guy is back. He's healthy, he's motivated, and all Bruins fans should look forward to seeing a healthy, motivated Tuukka Rask who wanted to sign a contract to be here, took a team-friendly deal when he didn't have to, clearly because he believes in this group and he wants to be a Bruin. And at the end of the day, we're all Boston Bruins fans who just want to see our team win. And signing Tuukka Rask today will help us do that. So let me know your thoughts on the deal down below in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big like. And if you haven't already, subscribe.